This is just an overview, by the way. I'm not actually going to do anything this time around. But since I'm starting a more in-depth project, I wanted to give myself an overview as well, so I knew where I'm going and how I was going to do this. So we're working on the Mandalorian. Not the Mandalorian, we're working on a Mandalorian. Working on my Mandalorian. This guy right here. As you can see, I've already printed a bunch of stuff. I wanted to go over a lot of the design and the reasoning behind that, and then next week we'll go into probably working on the jetpack first. But let me pull you up so you can see some of this stuff. I'm super happy with a lot of how this turned out. This guy, we're going to move you over here for now, has gone through an unbelievable amount of changes and just design choices. Design choices sounds good. Start with the jetpack. I absolutely love this jetpack. It was modeled off of the original Arcadia from Space Pirate Harlock. Well, I guess he was just Captain Harlock at the time. Abater and the other, you know, if you're French. But the jetpack I took heavy cues off of that. Let's do a top view. Top view would be way easier than me trying to explain some of this stuff. So the thrusters are actually completely modeled off of the Arcadia. That's almost a one-for-one transfer. Much smaller, of course. The top thrusters are the same as Boba Fett's. I wanted to keep that relatively simple. The wings, again, reminiscent. They're going to hook on here. Without everything glued on, it just kind of falls down. But I love the arc I've got going on here. There you go. This pops off. Because that whole arc continues in the back. And I think that is super neat. You can't see any of that. Alright, we're going handheld. Sorry about this. So, I love the arc for that. The front here is 100% the nose cone of the Arcadia. It's just been squished a little bit. I'm using huge dowels, by the way. Hold everything in place. The top has got these fins that I think are just unbelievably neat looking. But the whole thing is designed to be reminiscent of the original Arcadia. Because I absolutely love that show. And that's kind of where I'm getting a lot of my inspirations. The gauntlets. The gauntlets are... the number of iterations these gauntlets have gone through. So before I print the full things, I always print a bunch of little ones, right? Little gauntlets going through just slight changes to see what I like and don't like. You know, whether I want this offset or what. But, you know, so they go through a lot of different pre-prints before we hit printing. But the gauntlets I absolutely love. This is directly taken from the Arcadia of my youth Arcadia. So is this front end, which is just, it's kind of blocky. And it's way thicker than your standard Mando. There's the same little venting inside too. It's the little details that I really liked. My buddy Sean was over and we were discussing what... Because my original design... It was very blocky. It didn't look quite Mandalorian to me. The one blaster on top was just weird. And he's like, hey, what if we offset it? And I was like, well, we could offset that. And then that left all this room open. I'm going to do a mythosaur with a skull and crossbones right in the center as a serious nod to Harlock. But these come apart and slide in. Once everything is sanded, they're going to slide a lot smoother, and that's where the magnets are going to come in handy. But it currently holds itself in pretty good shape. This is the right one. And the left one came out perfect. I absolutely love this thing. right? Again, it's got the same gun turrets from the Arcadia, but I added, so the Cosmo pistol has a very distinct blaster end, and there's two of them on the front. There's one, that's where that came from too. The tanks that are reminiscent of the tanks on the side of the ship. I added just like a, I'm probably going to end up putting a hose on there, connecting it to the thing. I'm not quite sure yet. But there's a lot of thought that went into this. Like the epaulets, well, let's back up a little bit. So the epaulets, the shoulder bells, whatever you want to call them, I absolutely love. And they are taken almost directly from Sephiroth, which I think is kind of neat, right? It's got an interesting look that when paired... Fine, I'll go this one. These are just loose. But when paired with the gauntlets, I love the look of this. I think it's just, it turned out way better than I had hoped. None of this is glued, by the way. Even the, you know, the jetpack can still completely come apart because this thing would be a bear to sand all glued together. That's just crazy. That's what we've got so far. I may have a printed back plate. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Entertainingly, the only one I could find is my 1/4 inch scale, or 1/8 inch. This is 1/8. But you may be able to tell. So it's got these cool scallops. And this was lifted directly from Harlock's armor from the movie. It loops around and does a bunch of stuff, which was super cool looking. But I have these little points that curl around the neck, which gives that high collar look that Harlock always had, which is neat because then the chest armor I have is going to curl around the other, so they have kind of an interlocking thing too. I didn't want a collar piece like Boba Fett. I wanted something a little more, I don't know, unique, me, I guess. And that's what I came up with. It's still got the two little spots that the backpack is going to mount. Wrong one. No, sorry, one. Is it going to mount fully onto the plate? Well, that scale is off. Either way. It's going to mount onto the plate, and then the plate mounts on, because this thing is super light. There's no need to, you know, reinvent the wheel if we don't have to. And just putting it on with a couple of snaps or Velcro or whatever we decide to snap everything together with. Since it says snaps twice, it's probably going to be snaps. Which would be an interesting process. We'll walk through the whole thing. But this is kind of the overview of where we wanted to be. I mean, I still didn't have support material on some of this. I have lots of decisions on what I want to do, what order I want to do everything in. And I think we're going to start with the jetpack, because that's a super huge, once this is done, it gives, between the helmet and the jetpack, that kind of defines what the Mando looks like. So I kind of want to do the jetpack. So next week, or next time, we'll do the jetpack. But like I said, this is just an overview. I just kind of want to get everything together in my head as well as on camera. I find that when I have a clear and definitive lines of communication, everything seems to work a little better. That includes with myself. So, you know, lists, make sure everything's done in the right order. That way I don't back up too much. But so we're going to do the jetpack next time. Like I said, this is going to be a weird quick one, because this is just an intro to the full series, which is going to take a while. I'm probably going to break it up, do stuff in between. I don't want to Mando overload people. Not everybody is here to see Mandalorians. Weird, I know, right? But this is something you might be interested in, checking out. Maybe, you know, if not, that's okay too. Thanks for making it to the end. Hopefully. We'll see you next time.